The Greatest Challenge to Mankind by Venerable Rungruang Papassaro, Dr. Rungruang Limchoopatipa. The recent study, February 2025, Working Paper 33490, titled Decalling Life Satisfaction and Happiness Among Young Adults by the National Bureau of Economic Research in 6 nations, USA, UK, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and Ireland, finds that young adults are facing serious problems in the mental health crisis, significantly making them decline in happiness in life. Although we are very proud of the advances and achievements in science and technology that allow us to replicate AI, artificial intelligence, to replace human activities at work, we know and understand very little about the mind itself. The problems of mental health may appear to be simple at the beginning, but when they are aggravated into a more complicated matter, they could reach a serious and uncontrollable state and finally burst out into vicious actions. The Buddha was fully aware of this problem a long time ago, as he pointed out that all humans are at risk of being suffering in life due to the dysfunction of mind processing causing contaminants inside the mind, so-called defilements. From a Buddhist perspective, no matter what we are encountering, happiness or suffering, if we did not know how to deal with them correctly, this mental illness would still occur because of the dysfunction of mind processing to be emotions of greed, hatred, and delusion as follows.
All beings are in serious problems because of whenever they make contact with the world. The root cause of this problem is the identity of being a self, of being engaged in the world by having such a self to be the center of everything. By the time the mind is fully dominated by the 5 aggregates, namely form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness, they are subject to clinging with desire and lust. While trying to satisfy such a self for forever-lasting happiness, in reality, what is happening in the world is due to the law of cause and effect. Then the crash between reality and expectation is unavoidable. Therefore, unavoidably, the person will end up with suffering. No matter what the involvement is expected to be, that is, in case of positive involvement, the mind will struggle to be in such a state forever, but in reality it will arise and eventually fade away in nature. On the other hand, in case of negative involvement, when trying to push it away by force, the more we try, the deeper the involvement is. Buddhism teaches about how to understand the reality of life and to gain knowledge on how to liberate the mind by releasing all engagements with the world. This is the way to make an end of suffering in life. The Buddhist way to resolve this problem is to study for the truths of life within nature, and the Buddha introduces the threefold study strategy, namely morality study, study on the mind, and wisdom development. This is the path and way to enlightenment for the instructed cognition. With the instructed cognition development, then the mind can respond to the world rightly in accordance with the law of nature, and then the mind will be liberated. This is the way to make an end of suffering in life.
Although originally the mind is clear and pure at the beginning of mind processing, however, during the mind processing in regard to the involvement with the world, the dysfunction of the mind occurs due to the identity of being someone to participate with the world. This assumption may seem to be harmless at the beginning, especially as it is to enforce the instinct to run away from dangers, but as we struggle to satisfy this self with desire and lust, the problem is aggravated into a more serious problem and turns the mind to be dominated by greed, hatred, and delusion before bursting into evil doing. The Buddha introduced the study of the mind to gain wisdom through the Buddhist studies and practicing to gain the insight. This is great knowledge to explain the root cause of all the problems nowadays. All mental illnesses, including depression, anxiety disorders, obsessive-compulsive disorder, attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, dissociative disorders, bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and psychosis, are something occurring inside the mind, and the only way to understand these problems is to study the mind. In this study, we will explore the Buddhist knowledge from the mind study. In Buddhist practice, when performing insight observation, clearly, it is the practice to observe mental phenomena happening inside the mind. The Buddhist practice is not about any magical practice for supernatural power, but it is the way to study the mind and its functions through observation and experimentation. It is an introspective learning by investigation to understand the operating system of the mind in the process of dependent origination. The enlightenment of the Buddha was very interesting in that it explained how the mind operates in detail. His enlightenment knowledge is supported by the advanced discoveries in neuroscience, especially the human connectome, to gain a better understanding of the mind and its functions. With the deep contemplation of Buddhism and the recent scientific understanding of the central nervous system, I hope that we can develop a Buddhist therapy to resolve these mental health problems and to bring peace back to the world.